Hi, I'm Hope Witkowsky, your host of Senior Scene. Did you know that there are ways to age-proof your brain and keep sharp? On today's show, we're going to tell you all the secrets on how you can make that happen. You may remember Debbie Bernstein, a woman we interviewed a few seasons back, about her experience in helping a family member deal with Alzheimer's.
My father-in-law retired when he was 58 years old. He did not travel. They did not socialize. The only time he left the house was when he worked. So when he retired, he was home. Their only entertainment was they loved to eat. So to them to entertain was to go out to a fancy meal. When they traveled, traveling was all about traveling to a place that had restaurants that he could eat fancy foods. They didn't have a circle of friends. They didn't belong to groups or clubs. Their life was staying at home, playing with the grandkids, but again, that was always done at their home. Everything was brought to them. They didn't leave the confines of their home except to go to restaurants or to doctor's appointments.
Debbie is also my daughter. I've seen firsthand how she helped care for her aging father-in-law ever since he was diagnosed in 2009 with Alzheimer's. It's been a learning process not only for her, but for me as well. Seeing the toll it can take on family members if you're not prepared and don't plan ahead is just amazingly hard.
A lot of it came to light when my mother-in-law became ill and had to be put in a wheelchair. And it was then that we realized how much my father-in-law was slipping, because prior to that, my mother-in-law did everything for him. She really concealed it well. But we noticed things like when he had to start taking over the driving responsibilities, that he would have difficulty telling us a street name that he needed to drive to get somewhere, or he would have difficulty remembering where he had to go pick something up or go do something. We didn't notice it prior to that because she was doing all of those things for him. So that was when we started noticing it, and they were in denial, so they hid it from us as well. I don't think they wanted any of us to know that his memory was slipping.
Debbie learned that had her father-in-law taken better care of himself with a more active lifestyle, it may have helped slow down the progression of the disease.
He was actually diagnosed, it's been 5 years. But at the time that he was diagnosed, the doctor said that he probably had it for a significant period of time because of how far along he was at that point. But the thing that we're seeing a lot more now that my mother-in-law has passed away and he's on his own, the things that we're seeing a lot more now are things like he can eat a meal and 20 minutes later he won't remember that he's eaten that meal. He can't watch programs on TV because in the commercial break he forgets what the program was that he was watching. The thing he used to do, and we used to love to laugh about it, is that he would do the LA Times crossword puzzle every morning in ink because he didn't make mistakes. And now he can't go from reading the clue to writing the words in the box. He can't remember what the clue was. And just in the last few months, we've also noticed in the slipping that he doesn't remember that he's supposed to put pajamas on at night. So he sleeps in his clothes. He doesn't remember the difference between hot and cold. So if he's really warm, he'll sometimes put a jacket on because he doesn't realize that warm is warm and cold is cold. So he needs someone to remind him. It's really almost like dealing with an infant, because he doesn't remember things like make sure you chew before you swallow your food. I mean, little things that you think are so simple are so hard for him.
Dr. Yoon, an internal medicine doctor at Healthcare Partners in Torrance, advises her senior patients to make changes now and not wait.
Exercise is so important. I tell all my senior patients that should be a number one priority. When they wake up in the morning, ask themselves, what can I do to improve my health today, and make it a priority to have that exercise as a part of their routine. Exercise does so many things. it strengthens your heart, it decreases your risk of having cardiovascular risks, it strengthens your muscles that support your aging joints and bones. It decreases your risk of falls. So it has so many beneficial effects.
In today's world, people of all ages are also affected by a great amount of stress in their daily life.
I think meditation can be very helpful for all of us, but especially in senior patients. Even in senior patients who are retired, I find that there are a lot of stressful events that can occur. And I think meditation, in addition to yoga, I recommend very highly to many of my patients, and I think they can be very helpful in overall improvement of your state of mind.
While these steps won't guarantee the onset of dementia or Alzheimer's, Dr. Yoon says maintaining overall good health would be a big benefit.
There are a lot of things that's unknown about dementia and Alzheimer's. The two major risk factors for Alzheimer's, of course, are age and family history. So there is definitely a genetic disposition. So it's hard to really predict if a person is going to develop dementia or Alzheimer's, even if she or he did everything he or she are supposed to do.
But the doctor still stresses that seniors should strive to be more healthy and active.
Diet is such a crucial part of a healthy lifestyle. In fact, of course, diet and exercise is important for everybody, but especially for senior patients. Having a bad diet can increase your risk of insulin intolerance and diabetes, and diabetes in turn can increase your risk of developing Alzheimer's.
Being active outside the doors of your home and also learning new things is such an important element of staying fully engaged in life. Bernie Slotnick is an example of an 85-year-old who has kept his brain sharp through his volunteer work at Torrance Memorial Medical Center.
When I was 65, I retired from Northrop and I came here. They had treated my father-in-law very well, so I figured I'd volunteer here. And I was very fortunate. They assigned me to a lady in ER, and she trained me.
He has a humorous personality and volunteered for many years as a clown for the children who need to be in the hospital. The humor, it's still with him.
I stopped being clowning is because my wrinkles got in the way of my makeup. So I'd put the makeup on and smile, and my wrinkles would crack, and I'd have to paste them up. So I stopped clowning.
He says that he always finds a volunteer job that is interesting to him. Volunteering at the hospital is just one of the things he does to get out of the house and stay active in the community.
When I first started, my duties were to serve coffee or juice to the patients if they were allowed to drink, or the visitors. I was supposed to make beds, and at that time when they took people to the labs, we were allowed to take the people to the labs.
Learning a new hobby is perfect to stimulate the brain and keep it sharp. Dr. Beverly Gates and Bill Berry both retired and found a new hobby at Paul's photo store.
Now that I'm retired, I can spend a lot more time out in the field working out what I'm trying to do with the camera, trying to be creative, not worrying about having to get home or to work. And it allows me to be more meditative and to take more chances with my photography and really play. And so I'm enjoying that a lot.
From a common hobby, their friendship was born.
I love it. I'm a member of the South Bay Camera Club, and we also have two wonderful photo stores, camera stores in the area, and both of them have activities. And I participate to the extent that I can, to the fullest extent, and because it is more than just photography. It's a social outlet. You're with people, you're telling stories, you're making friendships, seeing sights things I never would have seen. I do not go to downtown LA after dark alone. But with a group of 40 or 50 people on a bus, we can do things like that. And it really opens up opportunities.
After decades of being on a tight schedule, Dr. Gates had to learn how to have free time.
I love to stay home and read a book and be by myself. And I often have to encourage myself to get up and get out and be out with people. And once I'm out, it's really enjoyable. I think photography has opened that up to me. Pediatrics, I was always interacting with people and interacting with children. And so that kept me working with people. But I tend to go home and sit down and go through a book. And I read it till I'm done. And I make myself go out and swim. And once I'm swimming, I love it. It's very meditative, and I take classes, and I'm taking one with Bill Berry now on the new Sony A6000, which is a mirrorless camera. And I went through my PDFs that I download from various photo sites, and one of them said how to take photography of birds with a heavy camera and without a tripod and get them sharp. And it was a real learning experience, which I went through, and I have a picture of a tern diving that I got recently that I never could do before because a tripod was too limiting.
The friendships once you leave the doors of your house and venture out into the world is stimulating for the brain and also so much fun.
I met Bill on a photography trip. It was either Yosemite trip or the Sierras or some trip like that, or Death Valley. Maybe it was Death Valley. I've known him for many years since then, but haven't really gotten together with him as much as I have recently since I retired. He bought a new camera, and every time I would see him at South Bay Camera Club or some of the other camera clubs or at Paul's Photo, he would talk about how wonderful his camera was, how light it is, how much it can do, and he showed me these beautiful pictures that he gets with it. And it convinced me I need a lighter camera so I can walk around and do more things and be more free. Much like not carrying a tripod and being able to take flying birds. It's very freeing to be able to do that. And so he has a class about twice or 3 times a month, Friday mornings for a couple of hours, and a group of us women get together and bring our mirrorless cameras, which we have now, and he shows us new things about it and answers our questions. And otherwise it would be pretty hard to learn without his help. It's a new learning experience, which is wonderful.
In my home, I do a lot of things, like learn new camera. I even teach a class here. That would be in the home, but people are coming in and having a class. We're learning a new kind of camera that is of great interest right now.
For Bill, he also gave this hobby of his a big gift to his family.
My wife passed away some years ago, and I had already learned that a little bit, but on retirement there's a lot of time on hand. So I took up genealogy and did a lot of studying. I had materials from the family and organized them. I started scanning photographs. My family has taken photographs for many, many years. And I would got a scanner, scan the old photographs. I took ambrotypes, they're called, these things, out of their frames. They were very popular in the mid-1800s, late 1800s. I copied my great-great-grandfather's entire Civil War scrapbook of photographs that he had, and digitized them, started printing them out. And one thing I wanted to do was get them out to the family, so everybody could have a copy of all these photographs.
Our seniors have shown us that age is just a number by continuing to find wonderful and fun things to do outside the doors of their homes, which in turn keeps that brain of theirs remaining sharp. If they hadn't, perhaps they would have had the bad fate of what Debbie talks about with her Alzheimer's father-in-law. I hope you've learned some new secrets how to keep that brain of yours sharp. Now it's up to you to go out and do something that fits your lifestyle to make that happen. I'm Hope Witkowsky, and I am saying that knowledge, it's a powerful tool. Tune in next time to Senior Scene to learn more secrets on successful aging.